Hello, how's everyone doing? I hope you guys are doing well. Today is gonna be a talkin' vloggin'. I wasn't planning on making a talkin' vloggin', but something happened last night and I decided I don't want to talk about it, so we're gonna talk about it. Probably from the title, you guessed that I'm gonna be talking about my dad. Most of you guys know who've been with me for a while, but if you don't know, I lost my dad in 2014. So he passed away back in 2014. I have a video talking about it and I will link it up here in the description below. But it's a story. And he's been gone for 6 years now, coming up on 6 years. Losing my dad was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through at the time. It was my first introduction to losing somebody so close, and I was a daddy's girl, so yeah, it was rough. I think when it initially happens, it's hard, you know what I mean? And then like over time it's still hard, but you don't think about it as much. Like eventually the pain of losing them starts to turn into memories, like, and a lot of like, you start remembering more good memories than just the pain of losing them. When somebody told me that in the beginning, I didn't believe it, but I've noticed that for myself. Like, it still hurts. There's still moments where it hurts, but for the most part, I can look back at my dad or talk about my dad with very fond memories. So I think about my dad every once in a while. Like, he pops up into my head and, you know, randomly when I'm doing something, I'll think about, like, and there are still moments, you know, after 6 years where I'll be like, something happens in my life and I'm like, oh, I should call dad and let him know about this. And then I remember, oh wait, he's not here. There's still moments that I have that even after 6 years. But for the most part, you know, I think about him frequently, but not like every single day. There is a period of time once a year when he starts to frequent my dreams a lot. And last night I had a dream about my dad, and I haven't had one about him in a very, very long time. In this dream, I was in my old house in Okinawa, where I used to live with my dad and my mom. And like it was my old house, but it wasn't, you know. It's one of those, like, something was off, but it like I knew it was my house. I don't, it's one of those weird things. And I was just there hanging out, and then all of a sudden there's a knock at the door. So I go over to the door and then I open it, and when I open it, it's my dad standing outside. And even in the dream, I knew my dad had passed away. So I was like a little shocked, not creeped out or scared, but just shocked to see him. I was like, wow, you're not supposed to be here. And my dad kind of nodded and he was like, yeah, I wanted to come visit. And so I was like, okay. And so he came inside, and it was one of those like like, it wasn't a scary or creepy situation. It was just one of those like odd situations. My dad's there and we're talking and having a conversation, but like there's something off about him, you know, like it is my dad. He looks like my dad, but there's like, the way he talks is very different. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Kind of like airy, kind of like aloof. Like he's not all the way there. There are moments where it feels like he kind of disconnects, you know, like he's having a conversation and then all of a sudden he just kind of like disconnects. And then I don't know how to explain it, but he was standing in the kitchen of our old house, and right where the kitchen was, right next to it, was a laundry or dryer. And so I was pulling out clothes and I was folding clothes on our dining room table, because the dining room table used to be right next to our dryer. And so I was pulling out the clothes, folding the clothes on the table, and talking to my dad, who was in the kitchen. And I get a text from Chris, which y'all know who Chris is. He's one of my best friends. And apparently Chris and I had made plans to meet, and I was going to drive to his work on base, and he was going to sign me in and everything. And I was like, yeah, sure, I could still meet. And then I hang up and I'm like, hey dad, I totally forgot, but I promised Chris that we were gonna hang out. My dad was kind of silent for a bit, and then he was like, can I come too? And I was like, yeah, of course you can come. I just didn't want to ask if you wanted to come because I didn't know if you wanted to hang out with like two stupid kids. We were kids, we're like our age right now. And he was like, no, I really, really want to come. So I was like, okay, that's awesome. I was glad he said that because I really wanted to spend time with my dad. But I didn't want to like back out on Chris because I had made plans and dad just kind of showed up. So my dad and I got in the car. Well, this is where the dream starts getting hazy. I just remember that my dad was able to get us on base because he had an ID card. And then we got on base, met up with Chris, but like at that point, the dream kind of went in a weird direction where all of a sudden my dad disappeared and I don't know where he went. And so Chris and I were trying to look for him. But then I ended up becoming like a fugitive on base. And like I was hiding from the police and Chris was trying to make sure that nobody found me. And so he was like, I was like hiding in a bush somewhere. And Chris was like, I'll come back for you. I'll bring you food. And like it just turned into this whole thing. Towards the end of the dream, it had nothing to do with my dad. But up until like we got on base, it was all about my dad, and then he disappeared, and then I became a fugitive. I don't even know. But it was a very interesting dream. And it was one of those dreams where you knew it was a dream, so you weren't like really worried that much. You were just kind of like watching it like a weird ass movie, and you're like, yeah, this is weird. And you just like let it play out. That's the dream. But anyways, I was like, okay, so my dad came into my dream, and sure enough, I picked up my phone and I looked at my phone, and it was today in Okinawa is what, September 10th? Yeah, it's September 10th, and my dad passed away September 13th. So this is around the time I normally start thinking about my dad a lot, seeing dreams about my dad a lot, subconsciously too. Sometimes I'll start feeling a lot more anxiety, panic. I'll start seeing my dad in my dreams a lot, thinking about him a lot, and then I'll look at my phone and I'll be like, oh, okay, it makes sense because it was around the time he passed away, and for some reason like my body just remembers that. But I thought it was very interesting. I wanted to share this dream just because I wanted to like have it kind of as a video recording of just this moment because I want to remember it for myself. I actually kind of look forward to it sometimes because it's one of the few times that like, I guess quote unquote, I get a visit from my dad, and like, I don't know. Anyways, okay, well, I got to edit this video and start getting ready for work. Thank you for just letting me kind of talk. Like I said, I didn't really have a purpose for this video aside from talking, but hopefully, no, it is what it is. I don't hope for anything. It is just what it is. Okay, I'm gonna go. Thank you guys for listening. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Peace. Bye.